All right, Buck, we're back with a story from trappolitics.com. A teacher was arrested for blasting music during a test, then caused an uproar when he was escorted out of the school. A Florida teacher was arrested after allegedly playing loud music to disrupt students taking a Florida standardized assessment. Martin Reese, a teacher at Creekside Middle School, refused to turn off the music and allegedly caused a massive disturbance while being escorted to the principal's office. Reese had only worked at the school for 3 weeks. As Reese was escorted to the principal's office, he allegedly caused an uproar, resulting in the school being placed in lockdown. Albert said that the chaos erupted on campus and the school goes into lockdown. It's never good. Reese explained that he planned to play loud music, and when other teachers intervened, he refused to turn it down. Reese admitted he had spent the previous night, quote, smoking a lot of weed, end quote. Police eventually escorted him out of his classroom, and he started a new stream to record the police interview before getting arrested. Currently, Reese is out of jail after posting a $1,000 bond. Why?
So, I just want to point something out real quick. I smoked a lot of weed before this frickin' podcast, and you don't see me flying off the frickin' handle. I'm like, no, man. I'm not even gonna put a finer point on it, man. I'm a solid 7 out of 10 stoned right now. And I don't feel like flipping the fucking table over. I don't feel like doing anything except for maybe taking a sip of water and possibly another hit off my pipe once the podcast is over. I certainly don't feel like causing a ruckus. I certainly, like, let's not blame it. Like,
see, I legit gave Buck a warning as to when we're going to start recording so he can get his pregame on.
Yes.
It's the only way I can get him to talk. If he doesn't, he doesn't talk. So it's like we figured that out very early on in the podcast that, yep. you record better when you're high.
Yeah, I think it was like episode 12 that we figured that out. Like, come on, man. Like, you can't use weed as your defense. You can't do that. Nobody's buying that shit anymore. Stop selling it, man. You should have just said, yeah, man.
I'm a dumbass.
Yeah, like you just fall on your own sword. You don't pick a hill to die on. I personally was greeted this morning by 4 of the most fantastic pharmaceutical strippers on the planet. I had the Caffeine Sisters, Miss, Coca and Cafe. They came to the party. They joined me by, their sexy exotic friend, Miss Amphetamine. And then had a little Mary Juanita to calm the party down before we recorded. You don't see me flying off the handle? Come on, man. You don't get to do that. That's not okay. And then he's gonna blame it on the weed. Like, come on.
What was the idea? Like, I'm gonna blare music during a standardized test. To what benefit?
Right.
I mean, what point are you trying to prove, man?
And like, what kind of music was he blaring? Like, they didn't even say that. They're gonna go into the fact that he's blaming it on the weed.
Baby shark doo doo.
Yeah, pretty much. So what are we gonna give this idiot, man? I have a very strong, like, numerical value of 4 screaming at me. I mean, like, he's just fucking with kids and creating a scene.
Yeah, see, it normally would be a 3, but the fact that it caused a school to go on lockdown, which doesn't admittedly take that much, but the fact that you're just distressing children in school, that just pisses me off. So yeah, I'll co-sign the 4. Our next story comes from CBSNews.com. Pilots get really violent threats after online rumors wrongly pin devastating floods on cloud seeding. Oh, my Lord. This happened in Sydney, Australia. An Australian aviation company says it received more than 100 threats following an online conspiracy theory that its pilots unleashed a flooding disaster by cloud seeding. Conspiracy theorists spread the false claims on social media after weeks of torrential rains led to deadly East Coast floods over the past 2 months, engulfing homes and sweeping cars from the roads. post allegedly shared on Post shared online alleged aerial survey pilots from the Handle Aviation caused a second deluge in the flood-ravaged north-south Wales town of Lismore on March 31st by cloud seeding, dispersing a substance into the clouds to prompt rain. A pilot from Handle Aviation in a Cessna 210N Centurion did a breakfast time cloud seeding run over Lismore South and Ballion today while sightseeing the massive flood below, one widely shared post reads. The flight path of the Handle Aviation aircraft crisscrossed over flooded areas was also shared online by Australian fashion designer Alice McCall, alongside claims that it was dropping chemicals to, quote, activate rain. Handle Aviation officer Mark Handel told AFP on Thursday that the company does not seed clouds. The flight was collecting images for aerial maps providing to the Australian mapping company Nearmap, he said. Handle Aviation operates aerial photography aircraft only. Our recent flights over flooded areas of NSW and QLD are in response to the floods. Nearmap confirmed to AFP that the photos taken by Handle Aviation were commissioned to map disaster-affected areas for insurers and emergency services. The aerial captures are commissioned after major weather catastrophes and natural disasters, including the recent East Coast flooding. The claims circulating online led to more than 100 threats being sent to Handle Aviation, despite explaining that the purpose of the flights on the contact page of the company's website. We had really violent, threatening stuff coming through, like we have the pilots' names, we know where you live, you're gonna pay for this kind of stuff. Handel said that he tasked the operations manager, Anthony Burko, with responding to each email and calling people who provided their phone numbers. Some of those he contacted were surprised or angry, Burko said, but others were distressed, telling the experienced pilot they had lost everything during the floods and thought the company was responsible. They needed a shoulder to cry on and to hear their story. They basically lost everything, and then someone here and said that here's your answer. Despite the online claims, cloud seeding is not responsible for any of the East Coast floods. A professor who leads at Monash University team studying clouds and precipitation said that the practice is not conducted in the Northern Rivers region and cannot cause flooding. Cloud seeding is not that effective. People who do it do it under only very special circumstances. So I can understand people needing someone to blame. They're angry. They need to blame somebody. That's normal. It happens all the time. It's not exactly rational and it's not right, but that is human nature. We fail to realize sometimes things just happen. But really, social media is really, it's going to be the downfall of civilization at this point. It really is. Some ass clown just goes online and says, "Oh, it's this company. Look, their plane went back and forth over the area, so it must have been them." And then they create a theory around a nugget of information, and then they spread it online and it says, "Well, I read it on Facebook, so it must be true." It's just horrible.
Now, social media has already taken its toll on modern communication. I can't see communication being the only thing that social media really ruins. So you are absolutely right, man. I don't particularly feel the need to score anything on this particular story, though. I'm not familiar enough with cloud seeding, and it certainly doesn't sound like it could have even, been close to a culprit, according to, some people. I mean, do you agree with that? I mean, like,
it's
this
not.
is just a.
It's not. I mean, the idea of controlling the weather has been something we've, played with since the 70s, probably the 60s even. and the idea of seeding the clouds in order to initiate a reaction, it can only be done in a very, very specific circumstance. And it's just like the professor said at the end of the article, it's not that effective. We've had results. We've been able to prove that we have results, but they're not anything that's even worth the time to go through doing. And to have the exact right conditions for it to occur is just something that's, it's just not feasible. So, the idea that someone's going to go up there and just drop a chemical in the cloud and then flood an entire region. I think the question you have to ask yourself, if anytime you're looking at one of these conspiracy theories, is what's the benefit? I mean, this is not, some comic book or movie where the supervillain is just, why are you doing this? For chaos. No. Why? You're only going to, a company's only going to do something if it's beneficial to that company. So what would their benefit be to flooding a region? Seriously, what would the benefit be? The fact that they get to go up and take some more pictures? I mean, seriously, come on.
Like, a picture may be worth 1,000 words, but how much money could it really be valued at? We're not going to flood an entire region and destroy everybody's everything just for some pictures. Like, right. and again, I'm not trying to bash on the folks who are pointing the finger, because like you said, sometimes things happen and people need to have someone to blame. They need to find fault and culpability somewhere, because they can't accept the reality that really it just happened. It's, and like I said, I'm not willing to score anybody on this one.
No, I think we'll just leave it at that. And that's going to bring us to the end of another episode, folks. And just want to remind everybody to do that thing you do at the end of all videos or podcasts you hear. Like, subscribe, and tell a friend. And with that all being said, we hope you all have an enjoyable week. I am the Razgrees. He is the Buck, wishing you all a happy and safe week.